I was finally able to watch The Marvels, so here's my review on the movie. Let's start off with everything I liked about it. And for starters, going into this movie, what I wanted was basically a team-up movie. I wanted the team-up movie that the end of Phase 4 needed. That was my expectations going into this movie. And a good time with it. Now, how did I feel after it? Well, I felt like this movie succeeded in that way. Now, this movie feels like a Captain Marvel 2 in a way as well. Not fully, but in a way it does feel like that. Now, let me just say this straight off the bat. You need to have seen WandaVision, Captain Marvel, and Miss Marvel before watching this movie. Having seen those movies, this movie will make way more sense. But my aunt watched it with me. She hasn't seen those. Well, she's seen Captain Marvel, but she hasn't seen WandaVision or Miss Marvel. She liked it. But I feel like to understand it better, you need to have seen this show. But did it succeed on the Avengers level kind of movie I was expecting? In a way it did. In a way. Now, all this build up that Phase 4 had and didn't have an Avengers movie was, I don't know why they didn't have an Avengers movie. But this movie feels in that spot in a way. Now, it does not have, let's say, does not have Captain America in it because it's not that kind of Avengers movie. But in a way, this does feel like that missing piece of the puzzle that we needed, that the multiverse saga is trying to build to. And we finally got to see how these shows, well, these two shows, connect to kind of in a way to the movies. And we get to see Miss Marvel and Monica Rambeau. Well, Monica Rambeau wasn't Captain Marvel, but older Monica Rambeau with superpowers now in the movies. And fully, like, putting these interactions together and working like an Avengers movie, but with only these two new characters other than Captain Marvel. Now, this movie is funny. Like, I know the director said that, but this movie is funny. And before you guys get all mad, like this is going to be Thor Love and Thunder again, it's not that. I feel like this comedy actually fits the characters because if you guys have not seen Miss Marvel, her character on her own is goofy and silly. So I feel like that just fits her version of the character. And it just works. It fits the movie better than Thor Love and Thunder did. And it builds upon that way better. And try not to lead into spoilers, but the ending of this movie left me excited. And I want to see the next project. It made me feel that feel. I'm trying not to lead into spoilers, but the one post-credit scene in here and the end of the movie, those two scenes feel like I want to see that. This is what everything's been leading to. Let me see that. That's how this movie ended. Well, that's how this movie ended. Like those two post-credit scenes, the ending of the movie feels like it should be a post-credit scene. So I'm just gonna call those as post-credit scenes. They're actually setting up something. I'm excited to see where Marvel goes. And yeah, I'm excited for that. And again, for the most part, the CGI looks good. The CGI looks good for the most part. Like, the stuff we see in the trailer, mostly it is fixed up. I will talk about this real soon again, but for the most part, they're all just fixed up better from when the trailer did it, and they look good. This is just a good time at the movie theater. It's not one of those grand scale Marvel movies, but it's also not Thor Love and Thunder. So there's a bunch of stuff in here that no one should really be hating on. Like, there's like this entire group I was once in that they watched this trailer and they were just saying that was going to be the worst movie in the world. That is not this movie. This movie does not deserve all the hate it is getting because that is not what this movie is. This movie is just an enjoyable time at the movie theaters, and it doesn't need to be more than that, while also setting up some stuff that will be driven later on. From there, let's move on to everything I didn't like about the movie. For starters, I did say the CGI for the most part was good. That for the most part section, the green screen in here. Everything else looks fine, but the green screen in here, when they're like in the air, like either falling, like that scene in the trailer where we see Miss Marvel or Kamala Khan falling, that still looks the same. The green screen's not good. There's a couple scenes where Captain Marvel's flying that also do not look good at all. And like, when they delayed this movie, I feel like they really could have fixed that, but they didn't. Which is the weird part, because that's obviously... The green screen's been bad in Marvel recently, but I feel like you could have really fixed that. And now the major problem about this movie is the runtime. This movie is the shortest MCU movie. Around an hour, 45 minutes. Maybe a little shorter, but that's the runtime. And the later half of this movie is good. The final battle, good pacing. Everything else before that, like that 50 minutes before the final battle, is so fast. Like, when I say this, it is incredibly fast. Like, I'm not saying that just because they needed to focus on Miss Marvel for the people who haven't seen the show. No, that part's fine. What is fast is that this movie goes from plot point to plot point to plot point to plot point, and not taking a break to really explain anything. Like, they did this one thing to explain, like, the villain's, like, motive. I feel like that scene was 20 seconds long. Like, maybe it was a little longer, but it felt like 20 seconds long. And everything was just moving so fast. Like, even the action scenes at the beginning of this movie were under 5 minutes long. Like, how this movie was going incredibly fast at the beginning was not like the Mario movie. It was like, actually, like, they were skipping major stuff they really needed to explain and just going through everything. And like, Captain Marvel in this movie, like, again, we haven't seen her since Endgame, and then this movie takes place in 2025 or 2026 in the MCU timeline. That is like a 2 to 3 year gap. And then we also have 1995 to 2023 in the MCU timeline, where Captain Marvel and Avengers Endgame takes place. So there's a lot we need to catch up on with Captain Marvel as well. But since this movie moves at an incredibly fast pace, we get that in a very brief summary of dialogue. It does not work. I feel like this movie needed to be 20, maybe 30 minutes longer to fully make this work, because that opening, it's more the opening 30 minutes, the other 20 minutes, so fast but better. The opening 30 minutes needed to slow down. It was going way too fast, and they just needed to press the pause button and actually realize how fast this movie was going. Now, it does not really fit the tone of it either. And it just needed to go by a little slower. It was going by way too fast. Like, you don't need to make it really slow that it drags out, but it does not need to go this fast. It was going way too fast. And one minor thing that doesn't really affect me, but may affect other people, there's a joke in here that some people will find absolutely stupid. They will find it absolutely, like, stupid. My brother was cracking up at it, but I can see why people find this absolutely stupid. And yeah, since that wasn't really a problem with me, I can't really talk more about that, but I can see how it could be a problem for other people. And one more thing for what I didn't like, there were some moments in here, and like, it's not Thor Love and Thunder level again, but I feel like some moments characters were not acting the same. that's in comedy and just normally not acting the same. Like, Captain Marvel's one of those examples. She didn't make any stupid jokes that doesn't match her character, but just what they do with this character doesn't really fit. And I feel like since this movie was going at incredibly fast paced, we weren't able to see why at the beginning of this movie she wasn't acting the same. Because the movie was going at incredibly fast paced. So, this fast pace kind of affected everything, but Captain Marvel was acting in a way that needed to be explained, and then she just was normal throughout the rest, so it didn't really make sense for me there. And then, at some moments, characters, I feel like, maybe said something that they wouldn't, but I think that was just one moment with Nick Fury, and that's it. It's just a minor moment, but it doesn't really fit his character, but again, it's just one moment. You can probably forgive it. But, all in all, The Marvels is just a fun time at the movies. It does its job. It does its job. It has this like nice comedy edge to it, connecting the shows and the movies, kind of connecting Phase 4 and what it was building to. And then the end in the post-credit scene, we get set up for what we wanted Phase 4 to end in a way. So we actually knew where that was going. And it does its job with everything. So I do recommend The Marvels, and out of 10, I give The Marvels a 7 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Comment down below your thoughts. Follow my Letterboxd, Colica Man Movie, and I will see you guys all next time. Goodbye.